and welcome to Motivation Mondays with Monica Marie Jones. I am your host, author, entrepreneur, and motivator, Monica Marie Jones, and I am here today at Urban Nation Radio getting ready to interview a very exciting guest. Now, before we bring her in, let me tell you a little bit about this person who has been an inspiration to me for many years. Miss Elizabeth Atkins is a best-selling author, an actress, a speaker, among many other things, but you may know her for her books White Chocolate, Dark Secret, Twilight, or Husbands Incorporated, which we'll be talking about a little later. Or you might have seen her on Oprah, Montel, Good Morning America, CBS, NPR, or The Tyra Banks Show. Now, in addition to that, she is a contributing writer for New York Times, Essence, Ebony, and so many more publications. So as you can see, we are going to have an exciting show for you today. Now, every guest that I have on personally motivates or inspires me in some way. And Elizabeth did just that. I met her about 10 years or more ago when I was an aspiring author at the time. And not only was she this amazing author who had been on Oprah. She had this awesome weight loss and fitness journey, so that's something I was really into. But as a new author, sometimes we don't know the game. We don't know like what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. And I remember telling her, I wrote this book, can I send it to you? And I emailed it to her, and she was so kind and so nice. And now that I've been in the game for so long, I'm like, why was she so nice? Now when people do that to me, I'm like, oh, I can't read all this. So it was just a pleasure to have someone so kind and so nice to help a new young author. And I believe that's why she is as successful as she is, because of that kind heart and spirit. So without further ado, let's bring in Elizabeth. Now, every week we have our guest do a 30-second elevator pitch, and that is our ongoing business tip, because if you meet someone in an elevator, you should be able to communicate yourself and what you do and leave them wanting more in 30 seconds or less, because our attention span is short. Now, normally I tell people, if you met Oprah on an elevator, but Elizabeth has actually met Oprah, so I bet this 30-second elevator pitch is going to be the bomb. Not to set you up too much, but Elizabeth, tell our viewers about you.
Oh, thank you, Monica. Well, first of all, I'm so proud of you. I'm so absolutely proud of you for doing it, making it happen.
Yes.
So thank you for having me here to share the motivation. I am living my dream as a published author. My book, Husbands Incorporated, is my latest creation. Thank you. And my mission is to serve as an inspiration to people all over the world to follow their heart and live their dreams. And I do that through writing, and that has become my empire. I write books, I wrote a screenplay, I speak, I am a writing coach, I'm in a movie, I'm an actress in a movie called Anything is Possible. I'm an enthusiast and advocate for people to become fit, live healthy lives, follow their spirituality, to meditate, because that's the ultimate power when you connect with the divine. And so my mission in life is to inspire people to live their dreams, share their gift with the world, because writing is my God-given gift.
Yes.
And so that's my mission around the world. Live your dreams, make it happen, believe in yourself, and share that. Be a light that shines on everyone.
Yes. Now let's start somewhere near the beginning.
Okay.
I had the pleasure of getting an autographed hard copy of your book, White Chocolate,
Thank you.
and I got to sign that. And it was so intriguing because you have this whole story about how people may look at your appearance and think that, oh, she's a white person.
Right.
And what's interesting is we were at a golf outing together last week, and I was talking to my friend, and I'm like, yes, that's Elizabeth. She's so awesome. You know, she wrote this book, White Chocolate, because people think that, you know, she may be white, but she's actually black. And she was like, she's black? Like, we were together the whole day, and she did not even realize. So I just think it's a powerful story and a powerful way to share that platform through the written word.
Yes.
So can you just give us a little bit about that experience?
Yes. Don't be fooled by the vanilla hue of my skin. It doesn't even hint of the chocolate shades of my kin. Blonde hair, yeah, it comes from England and France, but questions arise when I turn around and you see the way I dance.
Hey.
Green eyes emphasize this genetic potpourri, an exotic mix of Italian, African American, and Cherokee. I'm like sweet white chocolate fondue in the American melting pot. Decadent, indulgent, but bitter. I'm not. So, I do that poem when I speak, especially if I'm in front of an African American.
Gotta get the snaps in there. That's what we do after the poetry and spoken word here in Detroit and beyond.
It's much longer, but that's just a
honey,
taste.
I just see, and that's what I'm talking about. I love impromptu performances like that. Yes. But go ahead.
So that's my icebreaker. When I'm in front of an African American audience speaking, people are like, "Well, why is she here? What is she gonna say?" So I do my poem, and it shows where I am in my heart, in my spirit. And my mission in life is to serve as a bridge who promotes human harmony. And that's what I do through the written and spoken word. So with a poem, it's a performance, it's engaging, it's entertaining, but it's educational. So that's my purpose. When I was born to an interracial couple, I am a physical example of bridging the racial divide. And that's my mission in life through the written and spoken word. So Monica, I love Montel. When I was on the Montel Williams show to talk about white chocolate, he said I have shock value.
Yes.
So people see me and they see the hair, they see my skin. I have a tan right now, but I'm usually more pale. And so people see that, and then they find out that I'm mixed race, Native American, and African American, and white, but also French, English, and Cherokee, and English. So all that, I'm like the globe wrapped in one almost.
Yes.
I don't have any Asian that I know of, but I serve as a teaching tool. I'm a walking, talking teaching tool, because it makes people who were shocked question, well, why does it matter? So I've had experiences where white people find out and they step back. They're like, oh, do I still want to date her, or does this matter? Whereas it has the opposite effect often with African Americans. They're like, oh, she's one of us. She's cool. Let me give her a hug.
Whereas before there may have been a little more distance.
Right, exactly.
Interesting. Now you brought up two really powerful points. One is that for speakers, it's so important to draw your audience in, because people do have preconceived notions. Right. There are people who might be mandated to be there, don't want to be there. So when you give them that thing to draw them in, your audience is captivated.
Yes.
Now, another important thing you talked about was shock value.
Yes.
I do trainings around the country for youth development, but we also focus on how adults learn. And one of the biggest things is to put them into a state of disequilibrium, which means they're a little uncomfortable, they're a little challenged feeling, these things don't fit into their normal or assimilate to their normal beliefs. So that gives them the perfect learning edge, because they're like, ugh, now if I already feel I know everything, or if I feel this is too easy, but that shock value, that disequilibrium helps people to learn more powerfully. That's what sticks with them. So it's nice to hear you say that you're this walking, talking, teaching tool. I love that. Yes. So I'm going to go into some of my questions here. Okay. One thing that also stands out to me, I've seen you at many events doing vendor tables and book signing tables. And there's an art and a science to that, because you can go and pay $500 to be a vendor and not sell a dime. Right. But I noticed that you are a powerful saleswoman at these vendor tables. Like, I walked in, we were at a fundraiser a couple weeks ago, and you're like, here, you want to buy my book? It's $20. And I'm just like, okay. And I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't even think about it, but I was just captivated, mesmerized. You grasp the audience, you engage with people, and it's like you don't feel like you have a choice but to buy a book. And then afterwards you're like, wait a minute, what happened? What just happened here? So give our audience, because I know we have a lot of aspiring and established entrepreneurs and authors that listen, so give them some tips on being that powerful salesperson, because you are your brand, you are the representative of everything we have to offer. So give us some tips on how you make that happen.
Oh, thank you, Monica. Thank you so much. That's so important. And the rule number one is believe in your product. And because my product comes from my heart and soul, I believe in it wholeheartedly. Every word in this book came out of me. And it was divinely inspired. It's a powerful message I have to share with the world, with men, women, couples, everybody. So you have to believe in yourself, believe in your product, and it will just automatically. But automatically pour out of you in an exuberant fashion that is captivating to other people, so they reach in their pocket and get some money
Yeah.
and help you sell. But it has to be bigger than just selling. Some people are all about selling, but it's empty. Yes, it makes the money, but this is about a mission, a purpose, a passion. And so when I believe in my story, listen, you need to buy this book for your wife because it has some powerful messages, and she is going to be so excited. And my book is very steamy. It's very sexy. So it's going to get your wife excited. It's going to add some spice and sizzle to your relationship.
And that's what I hear is missing out of a lot of relationships. So that's very important.
I hope we get to talk about that because that's the purpose.
But we definitely will.
But selling to women, my mission is to empower women with my story, Husbands Incorporated, to get them to demand the best in life and not settle for anything less. Whether they're looking for a relationship, a lover, a husband, whatever it is, we have to demand the best and choose to have an all or nothing mentality.
Ooh.
Yeah, so when I say that to women, they're like, what? Because a lot of times we just take what comes along and settle for that. That's wrong. And then for couples, I tell them, couples read my book to each other.
Now, see, that's something a lot of people are sleeping on. Reading stories, especially steamy stories to each other. Another way to add the spice to relationships.
Yes, it's interactive, it's fun, it's entertaining, and then the end result is mutually beneficial pleasure. So who can argue with that? So when I present those 3 points to a man, a woman, or a couple, they buy into it.
Yes.
Because it helps them. I'm offering something that's going to enhance their life.
Yes, adding value, and that's so important. And when people feel like, a value is added or there's a problem, they will buy the solution, and that is definitely a problem in a lot of relationships.
Yes.
Okay, so I think at this point we're going to go and take a break, but make sure you stay tuned and tell several other friends to listen because the conversation is only going to get better from here. You are listening to Motivation Mondays with Monica Marie Jones featuring Miss Elizabeth Atkins on UrbanNationRadio.com.
I'll put the cameras on Monica.
Okay.
Hello and welcome back to Motivation Mondays with Monica Marie Jones. We have been here discussing books and writing and journalism, sales and marketing with Elizabeth Atkins. She is a best-selling author and actress, a speaker, and so much more. So if you are just tuning in, you've missed some good stuff, but you're still in for a treat because we are going to go even deeper with the discussion. Now, one of the things that I often do workshops on and that authors often ask me about are what are the pros or cons or what are the differences between traditional publishing versus self-publishing. Now, Elizabeth has done both. And just to give you a brief synopsis, traditional publishing is where you submit a query or you may get an agent, but a traditional mainstream, if you will, publisher publishes your book. Self-publishing is kind of like being an independent musical artist where you go through all of the channels and do everything yourself from, hiring an editor to a graphic designer and so on and so forth. So, Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about the pros and cons of both, the differences, maybe your preference. Give our listeners some advice on traditional versus self-publishing.
Okay, that's an excellent question, Monica. I've been published with St. Martin's Press and a variety of other big publishers in New York. And now I started my own publishing company. I started my own publishing company to do Husbands Incorporated. And the beauty in that, there are so many benefits. Of course, everybody wants the multi-million-dollar book publishing deal with a big New York publisher, right?
Right.
But getting that is often very difficult unless you're already an established celebrity or you've accomplished something very high profile in the world. Most of us have not.
Right.
Therefore,
we have to be honest with ourselves
yes.
about that.
So we now, thanks to technology, have the power to do it ourselves. We can own it.
Yes.
And this is an entrepreneurial world, and we can do everything ourselves, own it, and have infinite potential for profiting and impacting the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So I started my own publishing company, and I went with a company that I love called Lightning Source.
Okay.
You've
Yes,
heard of
I'm
it?
familiar, yes.
Oh my gosh, their customer service and quality have been over the top phenomenal.
Wow.
I highly recommend. In fact, I did a video on one of my YouTube channels called a Vlogatorial about why I love Lightning Source.
Okay, and they're based out of Chicago, is that correct? Or
Nashville.
They used to be? Oh, Nashville, okay.
Yeah, but they have printing companies all over the world.
Okay, so maybe that's what I've dealt with, their printing company in Chicago.
So that's a key. You can go to a printing company, publish your book, have 1,000 copies sitting in your garage, but you need distribution.
Yes.
So with a company like Lightning Source, they are global distributors that are called print on demand.
Yes.
So someone in Australia, someone in China can order your book online. They print it up one at a time. If I mean, they can order 1,000 or 10,000, they'll print them up.
Yeah.
But one book, they print it, mail it, and you get money in your bank account.
Yes, and you don't have that inventory that might get destroyed in the
Right.
flood we just had in
Right,
Detroit.
exactly.
So that's
Right.
definitely nice. Now,
Yes.
something I want to clear up a myth too is people often think, oh, traditional publishing, big advance, same with musical artists. But what I don't think people realize is that you get this advance, but that's not just really all your money to keep.
Right.
You actually end up paying back when the sales begin. So can you talk a little bit about that piece of it?
Yes. What happens is, say for example, a big publishing company comes and gives you a $100,000 advance. First of all, you don't get a check in the mail for $100,000. Your agent, your literary agent, will get 15%.
Okay.
So take that off. Secondly, it's paid in chunks. So you typically might get thirds. So you sign the contract, you get a third. That's minus the 15% for your agent, right? And then you deliver the completed manuscript, and upon acceptance, you get another third. And then when the book is published, you'd get another third. And sometimes they divide it up into smaller parts,
Okay.
right? So that process can be spread over 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Or more even. There can be delays, unforeseen delays. So you think, oh, $100,000, that sounds good to a new author.
Right.
However, when it boils down to what you're actually going to get, it's spread out and in smaller increments. Next, in terms of royalties, they are not going to pay you royalties until you have earned back the advance. So you have to have earnings for the publisher of $100,000 before you start to see royalties.
Yeah.
And then another thing is about royalty statements. Unless you're an accountant, they're really difficult to read.
Yes, they are confusing.
So to the average person, it's like, okay, here's the dollar amount, but what does this say? You know?
Yeah.
It's very confusing. So that can be a starting point to get a deal like that and work your way up to bigger and bigger. That's wonderful. But it's not the panacea that many people think it's going to be.
Right.
And on top of that, the marketing aspect. If you're not a well-known author that they can book on the Today Show and, you know, all the hot, big national shows, you are going to have to hustle.
Yep. And that's what I think people, you know, they think, oh, I got a book deal, they're going to send me out, they're going to do the marketing. And there may be some, but if you really want to get out there, you have to do that marketing yourself.
Right. And guess what? Marketing is a 48-hour-a-day job.
Ooh, yes.
I mean, it's endless. Endless. You have to be out, meeting, greeting, using social media, knowing how to use it effectively.
Right, because you can have the best book in the world, but if nobody knows about it,
exactly.
or nobody's drawn in that does know about it, then it will just sit on the shelves or in the printing company or in the garage or wherever,
basement.
You know, whatever the case may be.
Right, exactly. So it's not as glamorous as it might sound, nor is doing it yourself. Because you're a one-person industry, essentially, until you have the money coming in where you can hire people for help, an assistant, a publicist, a graphic designer. You know, you can do it all yourself. It's very time-consuming.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of work.
But the beauty in it, Monica, is that you own it.
Yep.
You own everything.
And nobody can say, change that cover, take that chapter out, we don't like that title.
No. Another benefit is that it's fast. As soon as you get your product complete, you finish your book, you can send it off, and in a couple weeks you can have your book.
Yes.
Whereas with traditional publishers, it can take 2 years.
Wow. That is interesting. Thank you for clearing that up for us, because what I find is that sometimes people who, are in business or writers may not be as willing to share. But I think that's where the gift is, in sharing the information with people. I know that we have value and worth, and sometimes we may need, payment for seminars or workshops, but I really believe it is a blessing to have people like you that are willing to share your knowledge, share your wisdom with others. Because I know there are so many people out here that want to get a start and need that help and feel like everybody's like, pay me, or there's actually people out here trying to take advantage of aspiring authors.
Yes.
Now, speaking of that, an author rarely is just an author. We, some of us may be introverts because we like to write, but there's so much more to it. And you are an example of that. When you have a book, you end up being like an expert. So you end up being a speaker, and then you have the writing skills. So you may end up being a journalist, and you may do appearances and speak, things like that. So talk about all of the facets and things that you do, and how you still continue to tie in your work as an author.
Thanks. That's an excellent question, and it really gets back to what I said about this being my purpose and my passion. So I have to share this message no matter what.
Yes.
With White Chocolate, Dark Secret, and Twilight, which I wrote with Billy D. Williams, my first 3 books. The message was about being biracial and using whatever gift in life we have to heal the divide. So those were my suspenseful romantic stories about mixed race characters. So I got that out of my system. And then this book, Husbands Incorporated, is about an empire that provides fantasy marriages for women, because after I got divorced, I was like, how can I create the perfect marriage? And so I made it up, and I wrote about it, and this is an empowering message for women. So, Monica, my point about promoting and doing multiple things to do so is that it's just within me. It's welling up, and I have to express it.
Yes.
So I blog. I do videos on YouTube called Vlogatorial, talking about my message. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Vlogatorial. It's video blog with opinions, which is editorial.
That's awesome.
So, thank you. Thank you. So I have all those videos, and so I also coach, because I'm just exploding with knowledge and expertise and experience that I have to share. So anybody who's trying to be greedy and stingy with their information to help other people, have you read the Bible lately? It's right there. It's the same as tithing. You give, and then you receive.
Yes. And I've read a lot of books on like financial freedom and millionaires, and a lot of their secret is how much they give.
Yes.
And people don't understand. They think you just got to hold on to everything. No, give it.
That's why I was so touched by what you said, that I was willing to help, that I was approachable, and other people have said that to me with the same message, that other people were even giving them wrong information. So you have to share your gift. And then it comes back to you in multiples.
And that reminds me of one of my favorite quotes. I read it in The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and that is, creativity is God's gift to us. How we use that creativity is our gift back to God. Ooh. So it is mandatory.
I love that.
Share your gift. It's not your gift. A lot of times it's not even about you. It's to help someone else. Okay.
So I love to share, and speaking is another way that I do that. I do seminars on how to write a book and get published. So it teaches people 10 steps you need to do to make this happen for yourself, and you can do it. And through coaching, I outline how this book can be beneficial to you. If you own a business and you write a book about your specific expertise, you can get new clients, you can get media interviews, paid speaking engagements, establish yourself as an expert, build your brand.
And that's what I don't think people realize. Like everybody really kind of is an expert at something, whether it's being a parent or going through something traumatic. And every book, even if it's fiction, has a platform. So you have the book Husbands Incorporated. So you can do speaking engagements about marriage, about relationships, about keeping it spicy. So people really have to expand their creativity, and it's not just about this good book, but what are some of the underlying messages and themes and platforms you can use to grow it out as a whole business, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. And so the beauty of this as well is everywhere I go, I can say my book is on Amazon.com, the ebook and the book. So everybody has their phone in their hand. They can literally order my book
Yes.
in the grocery store line or at the gas station or at a red light. No, don't text and drive. But they literally, all I have to do is say it,
Yep.
whether I'm speaking, coaching, doing a seminar, having a book signing at an event like where we were last week.
Yes.
Just say it, and they have it in the palm of their hands, the ability to order my book on Amazon.
Yep.
Husbands Incorporated. And
And that reminds me of a tip. If they say, "Oh, I don't have any cash," say that's okay. You can order it on Amazon with your credit card, Kindle, ebook, and make sure you have your Square Reader as a part of your smartphone, so people can't use that as an excuse anymore.
Right. See, I love that enterprising perception.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So that leads me to another part of what you do as an author, expanding, is I'm so intrigued by the journalism, because the little work I have done in media with the paper and then now with the radio station has been a true joy. So tell us a little bit about your journalism work. I know you've contributed to the New York Times, to Essence, and to Ebony, so tell us something, about that life.
Thank you. When I went to the University of Michigan for my undergraduate degree, I wanted to be a doctor. But I promptly flunked chemistry twice, even though I was really smart in high school in that. And so I became an English major, which has always been my passion, reading, writing, and a skill that came easily. So I started working at the campus newspaper, the Michigan Daily. Loved it. And then succeeded in getting summer internships at newspapers. And then I got accepted to Columbia University for a master's degree in journalism.
Awesome.
Thank you. It was exciting. So I worked at newspapers in Detroit, the Detroit News. They hired me after I graduated from Columbia. And prior to that, I had worked at the San Diego Tribune. And so there's kind of a snowball effect when you start working in journalism. You meet people. The National Association of Black Journalists, which is one of the most amazing organizations in the whole world, I joined that and helped form the U of M chapter for students. And I joined, and I remember my first conference in New York City, and I was a college student, and I mean, there's Ed Bradley and Carol Simpson and, all these people I've seen on TV and read about, and people from Newsweek and Time. I would read their bylines, and the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. I was like, wow, I'm in like journalism paradise right now. So I met all these people, and I began to form relationships, sort of mentor relationships, which ultimately later, once I became established as a Detroit News reporter with a reputation for handling the pressure and skill for being a big city newspaper reporter, people would come to me and ask, can you write this for Essence? Can you write this for Ebony?
Wow.
Yes.
Now that is powerful. So you brought up two key things that we often ends up being a recurring theme on this show, is the importance of mentors.
Yes.
The importance of building relationships.
Yes.
A lot of times that's what's going to lead to
Yes.
you don't even have to look, and that's true. Like people come to you like, can you work here? Can you do this? Instead of you having to go out and interview, it comes to you.
Right. Exactly, Monica. That's so powerful because people think, oh, I want to freelance for the media. Let me send a query over here. Okay, that might work.
Right.
But if you have a relationship with these people and they know what your expertise is, they are going to call you.
Yes.
So all of those assignments that I got were rooted in that fact, that I had built relationships over the years, shown my ability through my work elsewhere.
Yeah.
So they knew if they assigned me a deadline with a big national story, I would get it done well. So they were able to watch me. And that's what building relationships is all about. They have a character reference through time.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm glad. I'm taking notes here. I hope that all of you are taking notes as well. I will be looking into the National Association of Black Journalists.
Oh my goodness, there's a local chapter.
I'm on their mailing list too, and they always send me amazing stuff. So I need to get more involved. So thank you for that tip. See, I just love doing this show because I get all the knowledge and the motivation, the inspiration right here, as I am helping you to have it as well. Okay, so let's take the next moment. Do we need to take a break, or should we? Okay, great, because I want to have some time to talk about this book.
Okay.
All right, so tell us more about the latest Husbands Incorporated.
Yes, thank you, Monica. So I got divorced 11 years ago after 10 years with the same man. It was wonderful, but it was time to get a divorce. That was in my spirit. And I was excited that after 10 years of monogamy, I could go start dating and have fun.
Wow.
And it was fun for a while. But then I realized it was missing something.
I know about that. I'm in that transition phase myself.
Oh, yeah. Something was missing, and it wasn't all that I wanted more.
Yeah.
And so I thought, how could I create the perfect relationship? How could I create the perfect marriage if that's what I wanted? And how can I have fun and be safe? So this idea came to mind called Husbands Incorporated. Make a company that provides fantasy marriages for women that last only 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because I became extremely cynical about monogamy. I thought, I don't even know if it's realistic to expect that. I had it, and it works for some people, and that's beautiful. Good for them. But my experience in observing the world and having, meeting married men who want to date me, or maybe they don't even tell me that they're married, and then I find out later. So
what is
it's
going on with that? That is happening a lot.
See?
Yeah.
It's because some people talk the talk of monogamy. That's the official story, but behind closed doors, they're doing something else.
They don't walk the walk.
They don't walk the walk. So if that's a realistic statement about relationships and human nature, and that maybe monogamy is not a natural state of being, what if we have a 1-year marriage? Can you handle that? Can you just be monogamous for 1 year? So that was the concept. And not only, and this is about women getting ours, okay? This is about women getting ours.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this company provides fantasy men who fulfill your ultimate fantasy. So like if you always wanted a cowboy or a Native American warrior, a hip hop star, a rock and roll guy, a banker, whatever your fantasy is, a Latin lover, this company trains them to play that role for you for 1 year. Now the women have to pay a hefty fee for this.
I'm sure.
Administrative fees. And the hook for the men who are also trained in etiquette, relationship skills, and how to please a woman. Guaranteed. Okay? There's no question.
So it's worth the hefty fee then.
Yes. And they're also screened for mental health issues, criminal background, and all health-related communicable diseases.
Interesting.
So you can enter into this feeling safe, that you're safe on every level. Okay? So that's extremely important.
Yes.
The hook for the men is that at the end of 1 year, you're going to get a divorce in Guam, which is a U.S. territory that can give you a divorce in 7 days. You just stay there for 7 days. So it's like a honeymoon.
Is that like real?
It is real.
What?
Real. So I flipped the script on when you hear of like Donald Trump marrying Marla Maples. Remember that? And they had a prenup that said if she stayed married 5 years, she gets X million dollars.
Wow.
She stays married 10 years, she gets X million. So that one comes to mind because it was happening while I was thinking of all this, right? So I thought, well, okay, what if we guarantee this man a big payday as his divorce settlement? And it's all written in the prenup.
Now, here's my question. What if in that year they fall hopelessly, madly, deeply in love and they decide they want to stay married? Is that somewhere in a clause in the agreement?
It is. They can either extend the marriage or they can have a, just not get divorced.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody asks me that question.
I know, because I'm intrigued now. I have to go. I'm getting on a flight after this. I need to go grab my copy and read this on the plane.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
The reason people ask that question, Monica, is because we're all romantics at heart.
Oh, yeah.
We all believe in true love. We all want to find that one special person that makes our hearts sing and our spirits soar, and we don't want to touch anybody else, right? Who can be everything to us.
Right.
It's possible. That person is out there, but guess what? You have to stop settling. You and anybody has to stop settling for the riffraff, basically. Stop
or even if
wasting
they're not
your
riffraff,
time.
less than what you really want.
Right.
We do just get comfortable or tired, and it's just like, oh, this person's there.
Right. But that raises the question. You need to clear the space. You need to clear the space,
notes.
even if that means being celibate. I've done this. I'd rather have all or nothing. And when you clear that space and really commit, someone so mind-blowing amazing is going to show up out of the blue.
Come
I
on,
guarantee
honey. You
it.
are speaking to me today. And I'm sure she's speaking to a lot of you. Now, I could just go on and on, but we must take a break. But when we come back, the conversation will continue with our motivational tips of the day, including a relationship tip from Elizabeth Atkins. You are listening to UrbanNationRadio.com, Motivation Mondays with Monica Marie Jones. We'll be right back.
Oh, that was hot.
3, 2, 1, get back.
Welcome back to Motivation Mondays with Monica Marie Jones. I hope you have your notebook. If not, you want to pick it up while you still listen, because we are moving into our motivational tips segment of the day, and Elizabeth Atkins, our best-selling author, speaker, and actress, is going to take the lead for us. So as you know, every week we do a tip in fitness, a tip in finances, a tip in business, and a tip in relationships, which I personally feel are the 4 areas where we often need motivation the most. So Elizabeth, you have quite a story, which is a part of the reason you were on the Oprah show. Is that correct?
Yes.
So give us a brief synopsis of that story and then your fitness tip for the day.
Okay, thank you. I've always been, since I was a little girl, I was chubby, and I started dieting when I was 11, and I became a yo-yo dieter. Lose 20 pounds, gain it back, gain 30, lose 30, gain 35, and it really distorts your perception about food and body image. So thankfully, I have reached a point where I can look back on there and be a teacher and help people from my story. Because when I got pregnant, I gained 70 pounds.
Wow.
And after my son was born, I proceeded to lose 100 pounds. And that's why I was on Oprah, to celebrate that weight loss. But over the past 12 years since that show, I have evolved spiritually, so that now my guidance comes from the divine and through meditation.
Yes.
And it's transformed me in ways I can't even describe. But my message to everyone in terms of a fitness tip is to be gentle with yourself. And to know that you didn't get that way overnight, so don't expect it to change overnight, and to use your imagination.
Very true.
That's the main tip, Monica. Use your imagination to visualize where you want to be, what you want to look like, and what your day is going to look like.
Interesting.
Visualize that and stay in that vision. Don't look in the mirror and like, oh man, I look so bad. Don't do that. Don't criticize yourself. Let me just tell you a really quick example of how I have changed. The other day, I was feeling down. My first reflexive thought was, I need to go running. I need to put on my running shoes and go running because I don't feel good. And when I run, I'm going to feel euphoric. I'm going to feel so amazing. I'm going to sweat. I'm going to feel powerful. And I'm going to just totally transform my mood right now,
So
right?
true, yes.
In that moment of that reflexive thought, Monica, I realized, wow, I have transformed myself, because my first thought used to be, I want some ice cream. I feel bad. I feel bitter. I want something sweet that's going to give me a sugar high, taste amazing,
Yes.
and then give me that sedative effect. You know how a lot of sugar, like you go up and then you go,
And then you crash,
and you just
basically.
yes,
You're
yes.
just like,
So it numbs you out. I don't do that anymore. It didn't even cross my mind. So that's how, with persistent dedication, you can change the way you act. And when you change your mind, you change your body. I went running the other day, 7 miles effortlessly.
Woo, honey.
And that's because I do it every day. I work out, I do something. Yesterday my time was limited. I picked up some dumbbells, I did some kicks, I was dripping in 20 minutes.
Yes.
And that did it for me.
That's so important. I'm glad you talked about the spiritual connection, because currently I am reading A Course in Weight Loss Miracles, which was written by Marianne Williamson. She wrote Return to Love, and that's also based on the book or the series, if you or the class, A Course in Miracles. And it's really opening my eyes of how much, the way we look at ourselves and the connection, spiritual connection, is really tied into weight loss.
Right.
So that's powerful, and that is a book I recommend to all of you listening. That's A Course in Weight Loss Miracles by Marianne Williamson. I got it for like $5 on BarnesandNoblesClearance.com. Okay, so what about a financial tip? That is something, even if we make a lot of money, we still can struggle with if we don't have that financial literacy piece. So tell us your financial tip of the day.
My financial tip of today is to consult with somebody. Get help.
Yes.
If there are experts out there who know how to help you, so you have to reach a point where you admit you need help, which, if you're struggling for years and years and years on end and making these poor choices or not managing your money well or not making as what you think you should be making, get help. Because another person who's an expert in that can provide the third perspective for you. Second perspective. Sorry about that.
Okay.
No, my point is when you work with another person, their energy, your energy creates a third energy.
Yes.
That empowers both of you.
That makes sense.
That's what I was trying to say.
And and a lot of times we may be gifted in one area, whether it's creatively writing, but we need that person who's gifted in that area because no sense in wasting time and energy trying to do something that you know is not your strength or your gift. So you definitely want to.
A lot of people think that you have to spend a whole lot of money to get that help. But if you have a friend who's been able to save money or seems like a frugal spender or a smart spender, just ask your friend.
That's a good point. I know when I was turning my credit around, it was just a friend that was helping me. Like, okay, do this. I'm like, okay, you can be good at it, so let me listen.
Right.
That's a great point because people do think you have to hire a financial advisor or coach or accountant, but that's not always the case.
Right. You might want to do that later on, of course. But to get started, just ask.
Okay. So, speaking of accountants and things of that nature, the next tip, which seems related but is a little different, is a business tip. You talked about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So, what would be your business tip of the day for us?
It's one word: strategy.
Now, elaborate on that word for us because it's so interesting. We, with the rest of the station family, we were talking about strategy just the other day. So, talk about the importance of strategy in business.
Strategy is crucial. It's like a roadmap. You're not going to get in the car and just start driving and end up wherever you end up, right? When you start something in business, you need a strategy, whether it's for one program, we start with an outline, or one book, you need to have an outline of what your book is going to say.
Yes.
So with starting a business or embarking on a business endeavor, you need a strategy. What is my goal? Set a timeline, set some goals for how many clients you want to attract, how many books you want to sell, how many dollars you want to earn.
Yeah.
And so write it out. The power of the written word helps to energize your strategy because it puts it in black and white. You can post it up, you can look at it all the time or just review your notes. And that strategy will guide you into the success. Otherwise, why are you doing it? You're not going to just bumble through. You want to have a strategy with concrete goals, concrete profits, concrete growth that you can measure. And so, strategy.
And that makes me think of, I don't know if it's related or another piece or the next level, but I've been doing a lot of business reading, and it reminds me of the importance of systems.
Yes.
So, you have your strategy, but then you put systems in place so that when you're traveling or, doing different things can still run smoothly even if you are not the one that's there to run every piece. Because the more successful you get, the more popular you get. Next thing you know, you can't do it all. So you have to have systems that can run themselves smoothly to keep that strategy going, right? All right, thank you for that. Now, for my favorite subject of all, relationships. And we know based on these steamy novels that Elizabeth is a relationship expert. I'm going to go ahead and say that. So, give us your relationship tip of the day.
I touched on it earlier, and it's very important. For women especially, we have to set boundaries. We have to envision our ideal relationship, our ideal partner, and even write it down.
I was going to ask you, should we put it in writing? Or
write it down, declare it, announce it to the universe, talk to God, and say, God, this is what I want. Please bless me with something this or better.
Hey.
And then wait And don't squander yourself in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
Don't squander yourself on someone who's undeserving, someone who is not going to respect your boundaries or celebrate you in the way that you deserve to be celebrated.
Wow.
We are all queens.
And we need to remember that.
We need to remember that we're queens, and we need to demand that we be treated like queens, or don't deal with that individual.
Ooh. And you talk. Let me bring it on back to what you said earlier about clearing the space.
Yes.
Sometimes if you want a certain thing, you have to make room for it. So what clutter or situationships or whatever do you need to clear out of your life to bring in that which you really want, right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Elizabeth, let's use these last few minutes to talk about these exciting announcements and upcoming events we have. I'll start with you to make sure we make time for it. You are going to be doing a book signing at the Relationships, a Two-Way Street event on Saturday. Now, we had Darnell Glover on our show a couple weeks ago, actually twice, to play the game and talk about the whole movement. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Yes, this Saturday night, August 30th, at 7 o'clock, I'll be at Darnell Glover's Salon in Lafayette Park, Salon on the Park, and I'm going to be autographing Husbands Incorporated and talking about relationships as part of his ongoing program about relationships, which, oh my goodness, Darnell can set off some provocative conversation.
Oh yeah, if you've been watching this show, you've seen that happen twice now. The first time I was like, he caught me off guard with that first question. He jumped right in. I was like,
yes.
Okay, how can we make this motivational? Okay. It's just a different type of motivation.
Right. So because my book offers insights into relationships that are so unique with a new business angle.
Yes.
And then Darnell has a way of spinning his questions.
Oh, yeah.
We are in for one hot conversation Saturday night.
Definitely want to check that out. In addition, you want to join us at the Jazz Fest in Detroit. We will be broadcasting live from there all weekend, and that's taking place Friday and beyond. We'll be there Saturday through Monday because this is, a holiday weekend. I also want to invite you out to the Motown Writers Network monthly meetup, which is every second Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Wayne State Barnes & Noble. And Women Who Inspire is having a keynote speaker, Jocelyn Giangrande, who will be coming September 15th to the Ferndale Public Library from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And finally, Elizabeth, tell us how we can reach you, support you, buy your books, follow you on social media.
Thank you.
Give us all of that information.
Thank you, Monica. Well, my book is available on Amazon.com in book form as well as in ebook form. You can follow me on Twitter at Elizabeth Atkins. Find me on Facebook. My website is husbandsincorporated.com.
Very nice.
And my YouTube channels, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channels that talk about erotica, wellness, spirituality, and writing.
Interesting.
And those are called Vlogatorial. Vlogitorial.
Yes.
Vlogatorial by Elizabeth Ann Atkins. And I talk about hot topics and give insights that explore some of the things we've discussed.
Remember years ago you did a filming for a show and I was on it? Remember?
Yes.
I was like in the audience and at first I was all quiet and I gave some of my answers and the guys were like,
Oh,
that was fun. So make sure
Yes.
you check out her YouTube channel. You actually just saw a small clip of it. So if you want to see when she was on Oprah and all these amazing things, I know I'm going to subscribe if I haven't already. I probably already have, but I encourage you to do the same. So any final words for our audience, Elizabeth?
Yes, I hope you can pick up a hot copy of Husbands Incorporated and enjoy the read, but also feel inspired to empower yourself in relationships. And secondly, whatever dream you have inside of you that's burning to come out, let it out, unleash it. Be a light in the world. Let your light shine. Follow your dreams and make it happen.
That's so important. Thank you, Elizabeth. And you have definitely been a light to me, to the community, and I'm sure now to our listeners on Motivation Mondays with Monica Marie Jones. We are here every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where we turn your Monday blues into your Monday good news. Stay tuned for more inspirational, motivational, and exciting shows on urbannationradio.com, and we will see you next week.